Hello everyone, I'm Dan, and today I'm joined by content creator, streamer, fashionista, and senior community manager at Antstream Arcade, Aisha Anime. Thanks for being here today. How are you doing?
Oh, great to be here, Dan. It's so cool to be, doing the gaming industry whilst looking absolutely fabulous. You know how it is.
Good. Have you seen any new movies or TV shows recently?
Oh, I am a complete film buff. So the latest movie I actually saw was an anime. So it was the new Demon Slayer movie.
Oh, yeah. What do you think of that?
Oh my God, the swordsman arc was fantastic. So I have seen Mugen Train previously, which was a long movie. This was actually split into 4 small movies together.
Right, yeah.
So for each different arc. And I have to say, it just blew me away because it's not like the typical shonen anime where it's, fighting and you're spending like 10 minutes like powering up. Yeah. It's all very, very artistic, and the music, it's like you're watching a dance more than an actual fight. And there's so many feels that come with it. Honestly, I've basically recommended this to non-anime fans as well as my actual anime friends to watch it. But when I'm not watching anime, I have watched a bunch of other movies. So it was quite funny. For Mother's Day, my mum was like, I really want to see Shazam 2. And I was like, oh no, I'm not too keen, because I watched the original one. And the first one was really, for me, it was very childlike. So it wasn't, I felt like it just bored me, that's all. So she really was hell-bent on me taking it, and it's Mother's Day, so I had to. And I did. And then she went, hold on a minute, there wasn't any vampires in this. And I was like, what do you mean vampires? She was like, I thought this was a Nicolas Cage movie. I was like, no, that's Renfield. I was like, I'll go to see that with you. I'll see it twice. But you made me watch Shazam for nothing. It's quite funny. I actually ended up liking Shazam 2 against my whole reaction of I didn't want to go. But there was actually a lot more action, and I like mythology. And the kind of the gods and stuff like that. So I found it very interesting. They did a little background. So for me, I found it fantastic. I turned to her, she was asleep. So I don't know at what point she switched off, but they talked a little bit about the monsters, more about the unicorn lore, which I thought was fascinating, to be honest. They're actually the most feared monster out of everything. So I was like, how did we get this warped vision of them being all cute and nice? And no, apparently not. Oh, and we have to do a shout out to Cocaine Bear, because
yes,
I really didn't. Do you know what? I saw the trailer. I thought it was the biggest joke I've ever seen in my life. I didn't actually think I would see it, but I did. I have to say, it was interesting. They tried to be serious, but then I'm sitting here thinking maybe they should have just gone all out slapstick. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think they walked the line quite well. I think they had their sort of serious moments, but I was sort of laughing throughout most of that movie. It was. I liked it though. I thought that the trailer, I thought it was very, just didn't look like it was a serious movie at all, and that's what sort of made me want to watch it, because it was like a bear high on cocaine. So
based on a real story.
Exactly.
Spoiler though, the bear actually died afterwards.
I did read that. I read that the bear died. But the movie had a bit of a happier ending. Spoiler. I
know, it just want to glorify everything. And I was just like, when I looked up for more info, because it was interesting, I was like, okay. I see where they're going. That's fine.
In terms of like in gaming, is there anything you're playing at the moment, or anything you're sort of looking forward to playing?
Oh my God, 2023 is like the holy grail of RPGs. So this year, oh my goodness, it's so hard for me I'm the type of person, I stop and start, right? Because it's JRPGs, I'm like, I can't change games. I'm getting like hooked. Unless it's something that hasn't caught me, then I might leave it, or if I get stuck. That's the only saving grace. But I'm enjoying so many like game titles at the moment. Would you call it Sega and Square Enix are like my homies at the moment, because non-stop beautiful games, like for example Soul Hackers 2, won't put it down. I don't know why, I'm obsessed. They re-released, what do you call it, Persona 3 Portable and also Persona 4 golden. So I've started P3P, which has been excellent because I'm seeing all the demons that I'm using in Soul Hackers 2. So same universe, except they're 3D and amazing. And this is another compliment to Soul Hackers 2 because they use Unity to make the whole game. Visually stunning, so stylish, and the outfits. But my thing is, like, Persona is a meaty game, right? So you're expecting 30 minimum hours. So I'm sitting here like, I'll just get through Soul Hackers easy because I played the original, which was a dungeon crawler. They completely changed the whole style. It's very much like I would say the old school, maybe like Persona 4, I think, more like that. But I'm enjoying the fusions and I'm getting addicted, and I'm like, why have I not just finished this game? I'm sure it's quick to finish this game, but I just want all the different combinations. Anyway, so
I still need to play. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, go on.
I was just saying, I still need to play Persona. I've never played a game. I keep saying I want to get Persona 5 for the Switch, but I just haven't got around to getting that one yet.
You need to take a week off of life and then dedicate it to Persona, because it's a big boy of an RPG franchise, and especially with 5 because they did was it Fairs? They did a couple. They did Royale, Persona 5 Royale, and then they also did an add-on which was Strikers, which was completely new content. So it's like, oh boy, you're gonna want to play both. So it's separate and it's huge. But also with Square, I'm playing, what do you call it? Octopath Traveler 2. No spoilers. Because it's hot, it's so beautiful. Oh my god! So I'm having a bit of a solo with that. I don't want to actually stream it. I'm really enjoying it, and I like to focus. So I get immersed into visual things. So I get distracted, and JRPGs I do take quite seriously. Apart from things like Soul Hackers 2, like I'm getting lost a lot. So I'm like, chat, help me. Help me, which way should I go? Whereas Octopath 2 is like, I'm into already old school stuff, so really, really enjoying that. But I don't know if you've tried this one, and I'm terrible at rhythm games. Theatre Rhythm Final Line Bar.
I've not tried it, but I did want to play that one. Yeah.
Oh my god! If you're a fan of Final Fantasy music, play it, because I suck at rhythm games royally. So I'm playing it on like standard mode. Everyone's like, oh yeah, expert and supreme, and I'm like, no, I want to enjoy the game. Thank you. So the fun part of that is it's also got the RPG element. So when you fight each monster with the rhythm, each character has like different attributes. So like it might tell you this next monster is weak to fire, so you might want to put some fire characters in. So a lot of people are like, oh, these are my favorite characters, we're not changing them, blah blah blah. But every game tile you finish, you unlock loads of different characters, and you can just have all your faves from up like Final Fantasy 1 up until Final Fantasy 14. And I'm telling you, the amount of songs I've discovered just because I haven't played the originals, it's like, oh, it's making me want to. And it's like, no, I don't have time to dedicate to another RPG. Oh, that's too good. Okay. But those are I think the main ones that I'm playing at the moment. But there's so many more on the back burner that I'm like, oh, I need to crack this open at some point. Let me finish a game first.
And has gaming always been like a big part of your life? Like, can you remember the first game that sort of got you into gaming?
Do you know what it is? I can't remember the first game that I played, but in my childhood, my brothers were always playing games. Now, my oldest brother would always do PC gaming, but it wasn't for me. It was quite scary for me because I was quite young. So he'd be playing stuff like Doom, and I'd be like, yeah, these scary monsters, you've got blue blood. And so then my second brother, he was more kind of playing like kind of action games, so he would be playing the side scrollers, beat 'em ups, so like I remember Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, and then also the fighting games. I don't think there was much back then, but if you were lucky and you had the Mega Drive, the best were there. So I remember Mortal Kombat was one that really caught my attention because they had like actual human like footage in there fighting, so I thought that was really cool. And then eventually, when I was old enough and decided, you know what, I want my own console, I don't want to share, I want to pick my own games. I was so controversial, right? I didn't go for the PlayStation. I went for the Sega Saturn.
Okay.
And that's the thing. I depending on each console, I think they've got a different genre of game, and that shapes my love for RPGs, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Japanese pop culture, from sort of video games to manga and anime, has been an ever-growing thing in the West over the years. With cosplay in particular, it's something that many have embraced and made into like to an art form. So what is it about cosplay that draws you in, and what do you think people enjoy about it so much?
Well, it's interesting. So when you look at a lot of these games, they don't just, I mean, a lot of the Western ones, they do look quite average, as in you could be like, oh, that could be me, but a lot of them look quite fantastical. So they'll have like pink hair or green hair, and then like really like over elaborate like armor. And people are like, wow, I wish I could be that person that kind of sticks out, who's really like, you know, charismatic or beautiful. So I think that's the thing, people kind of aspire for something that isn't real, and that way you can get away with it. You can go to an event and be this entity for that event, and then go back to your normal life the next day. Though it's quite handy to have characters like, for example, Lara Croft or Nathan Drake, because you can just keep your normal hair and just put on a top or a scarf and be like, hey, I'm them. Because cosplaying isn't exactly the most cheapest hobby, and some of these outfits you're going to have to kind of go out of your way to make. A lot of this, I mean, some stuff is more available now, I feel, like bodysuits, so you can be Samus from Metroid. You can get the bodysuit sorted, blonde wig, brilliant. But stuff like if you want to be dressing up as Steiner from Final Fantasy 9, no. And then the best thing is, are you going to actually be true and make it out of some type of metal, or are you going to go for lightweight, make it out of Warbler? Are you like, then you have to do research. That just, wow, there's so much possibility. But then that's also a good thing. You can make different options, and therefore your outfit does look unique compared to everyone else's who might have bought it all from cheap from online, you know, mass made.
If you had to pick your favorite anime, what would it be?
Oh, you gotta be a bit more specific, Dan. Like, are we talking like shonen, like you know, magical girl? Are we talking horror?
Let's stick to shonen.
Okay, so fighty. It's there's so many good ones out at the moment, right? So I'm still waiting for the next season of One Punch Man, right? And that was very hit and miss when that came out, because it's like a parody of shonen anime. That's why I really liked it, because it didn't take itself too seriously. So, you know, like I was mentioning before, like 10 episodes for a power up. One Punch Man just touches you with his little pinky and you're dead. And then all the other guys are like, how though? How? Does he track? He does not. He is away with the fairies. Is he powering up? Is he doing something? Nope. He's thinking about dinner. And so, yeah, I'm very, like, I'm happy to wait for a dub, because I feel like the quality of anime has really improved over the last, like, 10 years. So I'm very supportive for the American and English voice actors, though I know a lot of people out there, they can watch the subs in that. So One Punch Man is a good one, but I have to obviously mention Attack on Titan.
Okay. Yeah.
So especially with, they changed studios, there was so much like people kicking up a fuss, you know, oh no, they changed this or they changed that. And I was like, do you know what? If you're going to be a purist, just read the manga. The manga was fantastic. So the anime is just as good, I believe. And it's been such a whirlwind, Attack on Titan. I don't think the studio didn't realize how popular it was going to be, and the massive fan base. And it's an anime I think is like universal, like around the world, everybody knows the theme tune. Like how many times has that theme tune been memed, like to Pingu or to anything? It just works. and I think because there's loads of human like relationships that have been captured in that anime that I feel are really like just really quite wholesome. A few relationships you're like, oh god, can you just die already? But that's the thing, if you're kind of feeling that way, you're like, you've got some investment in the anime, and the fact that it's going to be ending, like they're working on the last season, I'm like, oh my god, it's almost over. So there's a lot of investment in that. And then obviously I have to mention Demon Slayer, because I wouldn't be watching the movies if I didn't like it. And it's a weird one, because I feel like Eren from Attack on Titan kind of reminds me a little bit of what's his face from Demon Slayer? I've forgotten his name.
The main one, Tanjiro.
Yeah. That's it, Tanjiro. Yeah. So I kind of feel a little bit of relation there. Really emotional, crying all the time. So I don't know. I like the fact that they're not always, super strong, perfect. Yeah. The heroic type. I like that some of them are just like, oh god, this has just happened, and now I have to roll with it. I can't deal. Yeah, definitely. So I think that's being a bit more realistic now, with situations and that, and also like Demon Slayer. Like, hats off to the team who worked on it, like making it like a 2D effect anime with 3D graphics. Like, I don't know if you've seen the trailer for the Infinity Palace. It's fantastic, and I don't know, they've mixed like different eras in there. The demons are kind of like high tech and using science and stuff like that, whereas all the humans are kind of like Edo period Japan, like poverty stricken. It's very interesting. I guess that's a comment on classes as well.
With with all the interviews that you've done, all the things that you've created over the years, what would you say has been your highlight? And has there been like a sort of favorite person that you've spoken with?
Oh wow. So yeah, I've been doing me talking to people, I've been doing that well over, I'd say 15 years. Yeah. There's a lot of people I've chatted to just through, like, it started off as a hobby. So I don't know how, but I've managed to speak to people that you'd probably like be like, what? How? And I was like, I don't know. They didn't have security back then, and didn't have to pay. And I don't know. I guess back then, because anime was really, I feel like it's a new term. Only since Pokemon, anime became a word. So I don't think it was given maybe the pedestal it probably is on now. Mm-hmm. So it was so much easier to approach people. So I think probably my personal favorite would be speaking to Veronica Taylor. So that is the voice actress of the original Ash from Pokemon. It was one of those things, you feel like you're growing up with the character, and that was the show I watched when I was back at school, when I when you're in the closet, you're not sure if your friends are going to like the same thing as you, and like, you had a thing with Pokemon? And they were like, oh yeah, that kind of cartoon thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, that one. So it was kind of like a wild dream where I asked and it happened, and she was actually the most loveliest person on the world. And it's one of those things, you kind of, you hear it in them as well. It's such a big part, and considering as well, looking at it this year, Pokemon's ending, like Ash's storyline, the end, and it's like, oh no, Ash grew past the age of 10, like what? He became a master? What? Like, I don't know.
It had to happen at some point.
I know, right? He changed his clothes every so many seasons, like it happened, there was some sort of sneaky transitional period. So I feel like that was my favorite interview, probably not the best like recorded quality, but it was one that was really special and kind of meant a lot to me. Mm-hmm. I feel though, looking at some of my more recent interviews, there's one that keeps popping up, and that was when I started my journey into twitching, but people really like Mike Pollock. So that's the person who voices the Dr. Robotnik character from Sonic. So I was helping at an event, and I ended up being asked to look after a voice actor and his family, and I was a bit confused. I was like, hold on a minute, do I know you? And then he was literally started talking in his voice. I was like, no way, from from the games, from the anime. I was like, you up for like a chat? Like, do you mind if I film it? And he actually dressed up. Like, he literally had a little pretend mustache, and he had the jacket, and he literally put it on. He was like, yeah, let's do this. And it was just the most fun interview ever. Again, an improv on my phone in the middle of an event, and it was just it was one of those moment interviews. And for me, I felt, oh man, I wish I'd done a bit better. Maybe I'd got a separate phone to do the voice and all that. But that's the interview. Everyone keeps going, oh wow, you met Mike Pollock. And it's true, like that time when he came was the time when the Japanese original actor for Dr. Robotnik actually passed away.
Okay.
So it was quite iconic, and he was talking to me about how, like, you would he looked to referencing for like the vocal tones and like grunting and stuff like that, like the original. And he was like, the Japanese voice cast were fantastic, because a lot of them wouldn't even be given like something to work with, like footage. You just kind of get given the script and you just do what you do. And if you're lucky, it might say this in an angry tone or say this in a happy tone. So he said, obviously, it was great to work with, and there were so many fantastic like masters of voices back then. It's sad that we, you know, it's coming to an age where people are losing them. It was fantastic. And this guy was literally like, yeah, man, I'm just like showing my family around, and I love being a voice actor. Nobody recognizes you. It's all good. Just do your thing. And having to have that fun moment of, I'm the villain in that game. That game that's probably gonna turn into a film eventually, right?
Yeah.
So say like, hey, Jim Carrey plays me in that film. A lot of people do loads of different voices. Some people, like for example, Mike, he just stayed in that one famous role. He does a few bits and bobs, but it's like his pride and joy. And a lot of gamers are like, wow, that's iconic, you got to meet him. And it was like, yeah, hopefully I can meet him again and talk to him about like the movie and stuff like that. That'd be fab. But it's one of those things, a time and a place.
Yeah. As the senior community manager for Antstream Arcade, could you tell me a little bit more about the company, sort of what they do, what your role is with them?
Oh, great. So Antstream Arcade are a fantastic organization. So they do two things. They provide entertainment for you. So they're like a cloud streaming service, specifically for retro games. So imagine all those games from your childhood that were like, for example, on cassette. So remember like the C64, the Atari, like Spectrum and those kind of things. A lot of them, the hardware might not be able to work now, or if you did have it and it, you know, you need to get repaired, it's virtually impossible. There's probably a few specialists in the world that do that anymore. But there's also games that just lost licensing or just discontinued, or only there's like a couple of promo copies. We try and get hold of everything and we put it into our library, and all you need to do is log in and you can play. So all these games that you probably might remember back from magazines in your childhood, we most likely have all of them. So we legally speak to them, we get the license, we put it on there for you. The second thing, like I said, what we do is not just give you guys that chance to relive your childhood and have entertainment, is we also preserve gaming history. So like I said, some of these games are indie, some of these games are just hobby things that never really took off. There are the few famous games that you always remember that have like transcended time, and you know, there's so many Sonic games, there's so many Kirby games, you know, Mega Man games, but there are games that are just indie, that just didn't, like, that only lived on one console and that was it. So we've got hold as many as we can get licenses for, and we've got them there, so you can just log in and play, and you can do that for almost around the world, anywhere, from your PC, your phone, your tablet. And like I said, because we're lacking in time these days, the world is so fast and we're always busy. You've always got time to play a couple of levels of Pac-Man. It's easy. Just log in, play, and you can give like 10-15 minutes to it, and then you can move on and do something else. And then that's one thing I think of, the generation for the arcades. A lot of these games were all about the high score, right? So we make sure that the leaderboard is there, but you also have our separate challenges. So if you did want to do like quick games, you can do 1 life games. Oh, you were like, oh, I really fancy playing Metal Slug. Let's get on it for like 10-15 minutes before a meeting, or before I need to you're at the airport and you got time to kill. There's been a delay. You're like, let's kill some time and play some of these old school games. Focus, play, get the high score in, and then, have fun.
Nice. Very nice. With the rise of sort of game streaming, what do you think will be the impact on gaming in the future? Do you think we'll head into like an all digital future where we just have streaming games and dedicated consoles are no longer a thing?
No, I don't think we're there yet. I think there are a lot of collectors out there who love their hard copies. I'm a fan too. Like, for example, when I used to buy games for Sega Saturn, I was such a big fan of like game manuals, and it's kind of sad. Games don't do that anymore. Yeah. Or if they do, it's like a folded card, and that's it. There's no pages in between. There's nothing. I think people will still be happy to. I think it'll be limited runs, and I have seen that the people doing limited runs of Mega Drive indie games. It's a thing. People do like their hardware, and I feel like if anything were to go wrong digitally, and I don't know, people lost data, we need hard copies. So, but it's interesting because with like the PlayStation 5, they've done digital version consoles, so you can't, if you did have the CD, you can't use it. So you'd have to pay extra if you wanted the CD drive one. But some people prefer it because of the lack of space. I don't know about you, but people in our generation, can we all afford houses with rooms? I don't know. I mean, look at books. People don't want to buy books anymore. They want to just download it to their Kindle or whatever they have. So it's like lack of space. Don't have room for this. Manga. I've had to quit. I don't have enough shelf space. I only have my favorite collections, and then you have series like Bleach that never want to end, and you're like, oh my goodness, like, where am I going to put this? And it feels like a waste, like you putting it in a box and hiding it in your attic. Because the art's beautiful, or like I said, the manuals, the game covers, you kind of almost want to have it in display. In short, I think we are not quite all digital, and I kind of don't want us to be. I think there's something special in having something tangible in your hands, and the memory is triggered when you have your game or your book and you pick it up and you're like, wow, this has survived 30 years of boot sales and my mum trying to like get rid of this, and
No, I agree completely. And final question, as a creator, what does creativity mean to you?
So, wow, it's mad, right? When I started doing like videos or writing reviews, it was never a creator. It was always your version of the event, so reviewing. And I don't know, I guess it's just opinion pieces. I mean, with nowadays, a lot of people are kind of sponsored or gifted and got ads, and it's almost like you kind of need to say something good because it's been given to you. I feel like creativity, you just got to be unapologetically yourself and just tell it how it is. I mean, if you go to an event, say how it is. The best parts, the worst parts, highlights. Why? Because I feel like there might be a person out there who is saving up to go to this event, and they just want to know, am I going to like it? Like, am I going to enjoy it? What am I going to spend my money on? Will I end up spending a ton on parking or food or merch? Will the merch be real? Yeah, you have to be real. There might be some fakes out there. It's worth mentioning so that people know, oh God, maybe I should check it out online first, be a bit more prepared. And I feel that's what it is. I think there needs to be a little bit of authenticity out there. I feel like a lot of people are just, as I said it, putting a persona on. Just be yourself and do what you think do what's right for you, and don't be like feel like people are going to come after you. Don't be worried about criticism. At the end of the day, nobody likes everything. You can't be a crowd pleaser, so just be unapologetically you.
Great. Thank you very much. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this little chat with me today. For anyone who wants to check you out, where can they find you?
Oh, I'm everywhere. I'm the worst. I don't have a standardized URL or link. If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm hanging around. I'm Aisha_anime. Also that on Facebook. On Instagram, it's Aisha_kicks_ass, because I do at fighting games. Rarely anything else. But Twitch, I have got a completely different handle. It is doomed_Prinny, PRINNY. Come see me fail at games, or come help me. I appreciate any backseat gaming. So yeah, it'd be fun to talk to me about anime, games, whatever. It's all good.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be sure to leave some links in the descriptions below so people can come and check out your channels. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time with even more creator interviews.